Happy Valentine's Day! Hey Kids Discover, today we're talking about holidays. What's your favorite holiday? Christmas is my favorite. Christmas. Christmas. Use your mama's eyes. You invited redemption for his people. He would gain his compliment forever. Holy and honor is his name. Psalm 111, verse 9. remember and celebrate. Today we're celebrating a song. I'm going to ask 10 questions. And if you don't get them right, let's see what happens.
Here are our Zonk questions. Number 1. Before Jesus ascended to heaven, he told his disciples to wait in Jerusalem for A. A bouquet of flowers, B. The Holy Spirit, C. An angel, or D. A letter in the mail. The answer is B. The Holy Spirit. I hope you got it. If not, here comes your... Number 2. When God sent the Holy Spirit to baptize Jesus' disciples, what happened? A. There was a sound of a strong wind. B. Tongues of fire settled on each one. C. They spoke in languages they did not learn. Or D. All of the above. The answer is D. There were 3 signs on the day of Pentecost. One of these signs, speaking in an unlearned language, still happens when we, as believers, are baptized in the Holy Spirit. If you got it right, then you remember our story. If not... Uh-oh. Number 3. True or false? Peter could have healed the beggar on his own. The answer is false. Peter healed the man through God's power. I hope you're working by God's power. If not...
Her hair didn't even change color.
Number 4. When people came to see the healed man, Peter told everyone about blank. The answer is Jesus. If you got it, 2 thumbs up. If not... Number 5. What happened because the people in the first church shared? A. Everyone in the church had everything they needed. B. The church grew. C. God was praised. Or D. All of the above. This is our story from the book of Acts, chapter 1. The answer is D. All of the above. It's so great to share. I hope you shared your Kool-Aid. This person didn't. We're halfway through. Why were 7 deacons chosen? The answer is to make sure that all the widows were fed. Did you guys remember? If not... Number 7. What was Philip's first job in the church? A. Musician, B. Janitor, C. Deacon, or D. Evangelist? These are all great answers, but Philip was actually a deacon who took care of serving the poor widows. If you guessed musician, janitor, or evangelist... Number 8. True or false? Philip went down the desert road because he wanted pizza. If you watched that message, you saw he didn't want pizza, but his phone did ring. The answer is false. He went down the desert road because God sent him there to tell an Ethiopian man about Jesus. If you answered your phone for some pizza, here's your Kool-Aid to go with it.
Tastes like honey.
Number 9. Who spoke to Paul when a bright light shone around him on the road to Damascus? answer is Jesus. Jesus met with Paul that day. If you guessed anyone else, here's our last question. Number 10, true or false? Saul later became known as Paul. The answer is true. Let us know in the comments below how many you got right. I hope you guys know a few more of those questions than I did, because I surely got zonked. Today is our Remember and Celebrate week. We said happy birthday. On our birthdays, we celebrate another year of growth and maturity and getting taller. We also said Merry Christmas, which we celebrate Jesus' birth and God's given Son to our world. We said Happy Valentine's Day, where we share lots of love and care for those around us. And of course, Happy Thanksgiving, which we always tell God and remind our family and friends what we're thankful for that time of year. Today for our Remember and Celebrate week, I want to talk to you about the Feast of Tabernacles. This was a holiday that was celebrated by the Jewish people. They would celebrate how God had brought the Israelites from slavery in Egypt into the Promised Land, but specifically how throughout that whole trip in the wilderness, which lasted 40 years, that they had tabernacles, or places where God would protect them and that they could dwell. So they were celebrating God's protection over them for 40 years. Can you guys think of a story when God gave you great protection? I remember not too long ago, but a little while ago, our family lived in a house on Munger Road. It was way out in the country. And the weather was warm, like it is now, but not quite this hot. And there started a storm brewing in the air. Cold front and a warm front had smashed together, and it had the perfect conditions for some tornadoes. We had alarms going off and warnings to let us know to go find protection from these possible tornadoes. At the time, Amy lived with us, and Kyle was at work. So it was myself, and Malachi, and Calvary, and Lazarus. Juby wasn't born yet. And we had to go outside to get to our basement. And then we had to open the door down to the basement. We went down the basement stairs and we closed the door and locked it. Then we went into this other separate room, kind of a little deeper into the basement. And we closed the door behind us there. And we just sat. And we had to be quiet. We watched the radar, and we could see as the storm was moving over our area, and we just waited patiently. I said a lot of prayers that day. I was a little bit scared, I have to admit. But you know what? God came through, and He kept us protected. Sometimes we can feel scared, and God will keep a physical protection over us, like He kept our house in great condition. There was no worries, nothing was broken, and no tornadoes came. Sometimes He protects us from spiritual things too, and just keeps us safe. When we walk in His ways, He gives us a special protection and blessing so that there isn't as much sin entangling our lives. So we can be protected by God physically and spiritually. And the Israelites celebrated that on the Feast of Tabernacles. I am so thankful for all the holidays that we celebrate. I'm thankful that God chooses to protect us. If you guys have a story of God's protection over your life, I would love it if you shared it with me. We can either meet at the welcome desk on a Sunday, or maybe you can have Mom and Dad type it in the comments below. But it's always great to share our stories, because I'm not the only one with a story. Mom and Dad aren't the only one with a story. Kyle or Amy aren't the only ones with stories. But we each have a story. And if we think really hard, I know God will remind you of a story where He was faithful and brought protection for you. So if you can, share your story.
Here's your blessing. May you be filled with the riches of God's love and blessings. Praise God for His goodness. Let's remember and celebrate God's goodness this week. Have a great summer. Stay cool.